stripe. Watch out. Man, shall I be the forward boy? Red stripe Premier League champion boy score. Every goal when I run from boy. Red stripe Premier League champion boy now. Pop down we run the marathon boy. The bush and never be the champion boy. Now man I don't a songsters boy. Red stripe Premier League champion boy.
Red Stripe Football Monday is coming tonight from the Tony Spalding Sports Complex, involving a team flying near the top of the table at the moment in Mount Pleasant. They're coming all the way from St. Anne to tackle UWI, who are playing a home fixture tonight away from home at the Tony Spalding Sports Complex, which is the Arnett Gardens home ground. It's a pretty cool night here at the Tony Spalding Sports Complex, and it's a team, Mount Pleasant, that are number 2 in the table at the moment, up against the number 11 team, UWI. So a huge difference in position, huge difference in points at the moment. 19 points better the Mount Pleasant team are at the moment than UWI. But you know what? Last week, Dwight Jeremiah, we did see a lowly placed Malines upset leaders Waterhouse, so Mount Pleasant have to come here with some respect for UWI.
I think UWI also realize that they're beginning to cut adrift from the rest of the teams at the table, and there's enough motivation for them to want to win tonight. So I expect them to give all they've got against this Mount Pleasant team.
Round 20 of the Red Stripe Premier League for 1919-1920 will be up tonight. The final game, the matches that were played yesterday, 5 of them, Dunbeholden 3-2 over Malines, Vere United 1-1 with Tivoli Gardens. Humberland, they had the best unbeaten streak in the league, but they lost it. 6 matches unbeaten, but Arnett Gardens avenged their first round loss to them and beat them by 2-1. 3 red cards in that match. Harbourview snapped Portmore 3-game winning streak with a 1-0. Orlando Brown goal.
Beautiful goal from Orlando Brown. Took a wicked deflection, and the goalkeeper had no chance in the end. It was enough to condemn Waterhouse to their 2nd consecutive loss, but Cavalier showing really good form at the right time.
Yeah, that's for sure. Waterhouse now still just 4 points on top of the table. So Mount Pleasant, if they get a win over UWI, which most people expect them to get tonight, they will be within 1 point of the lead, behind a Waterhouse team that were leading by all of 8 points a couple of weeks ago. Arnett Gardens within striking distance, just a point further back in 3rd on 33 points. Humberland in 4th spot. Portmore and Humberland both have 30 points, but Humberland with a superior goal difference. Cavalier with their victory now in a playoff spot at number 6.
Yeah, Cavalier is definitely the team probably with the best form at the moment, and they have jumped into the top 6. Also, like Harbourview, they're climbing away from the relegation zone nicely with some victories.
Yeah, and UWI and Vere United bottom of the table and in relegation worries. UWI have not beaten Mount Pleasant in the 6 times they have met so far. They are the last 3 times they met. First round, a 0-0 draw between them. And those 2 results there, Mount Pleasant 1-0 over UWI and UWI 2-2 with Mount Pleasant, were in the playoffs last year. And those 2 results on aggregate eliminated UWI from the playoffs.
Yeah, and UWI, they can take heart from that, knowing that it has not been a big margin in the last recent games that they've played with Mount Pleasant. So I expect them to feel like they have a chance tonight, Lance. It's really a big motivation for them. 8 points is a huge gap. They don't want to go to double figures. And I don't think single points, a drawn game, can help them tonight. They really need to start winning, UWI.
Yeah, they really do. And if they win tonight, they will cut that relegation problem to just 5 points and not 8. But UWI are a team that's not without quality.
Last couple of games, especially the last round 19, they were leading Tivoli by 2 goals, gave up late goals to leave with just a point there, and it's even running further back. The last 4 rounds, they've taken the lead 3 times and have not gone away with victories. So important for them tonight to really shore up defense and do well. So it's going to be important, I think, for them, but big motivation for them to want to go forward.
Yes, so UWI looking for a result here. Mount Pleasant haven't been that bad on the road. They're one of the better road teams in the league so far, and they're coming here looking for 3 points tonight.
Yeah, they're good on the road, but if you compare their home record against their away record, they have a better home record, and they've only won 4 of 10 games on the road. So again, UWI, they can take heart from that, knowing that Mount Pleasant are more vulnerable when they're away. So very important there. So for Mount Pleasant, they'll want to keep winning to make sure that Waterhouse, who have also slipped up, they can take advantage of that.
Yeah, this is the home of champions, presenting live coverage of Red Stripe Premier League football on a Monday night. Lots of globally big events coming up on the Sportsmax channels, Sportsmax 1 and Sportsmax 2 in the coming days. The San Antonio Spurs against the Dallas Mavericks. Mavericks live Saturday at 7 o'clock, 8 Eastern Caribbean time. That will be a Sportsmax 2 fixture. And also in the NBA, this time on Sportsmax, on Sunday, 3:30 in the afternoon, 4:30 Eastern Caribbean time, the New York Knicks, they'll be in Los Angeles to face the Clippers. La Liga returning after the Christmas break. Valencia at home to Eibar. That's Saturday morning, 6:30, 7:30 Eastern Caribbean time on Sportsmax 2. And Espanyol later in the day, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock Eastern Caribbean time. Espanyol will be up against the
and 8:30 ECT.
So we're closing in on about 22 minutes till kickoff time here. The Mount Pleasant team coming all the way from St. Anne to battle UWI. And there's the UWI midfield general, Ryan Miller, getting himself warm. Already looking very, very sweaty. UWI looking to be in business tonight. And Mount Pleasant, Keslan Hall, one of the Mount Pleasant men that had been with the team from the very beginning, before they had qualified for the top flight, part of their setup. Amal Knight in goal for the UWI, and these teams getting really ready and warm for what we expect to be a very, very tense fixture tonight. Red Stripe Football Mondays, they kick off in just about 20 minutes. Back in a moment.
To Dinwood, 5 seconds. Defender to electrify the crowd. Look at this piece of play. I'm gone. And we are ready.
The role is to continue to drive for the development of the game here. Although players are selected from clubs abroad, they were developed in the league.
They're really quality players and they have really good attitude, and you get your money's worth.
This match has turned up several gears. Not very, very hot tonight, just 27 degrees Celsius here. Not much chance of rain either. Pretty humid though, and a slight Christmas breeze here across the ground at the Tony Spalding Sports Complex. So this is a venue that's neutral, because although Mount Pleasant are on the road, UWI do not have the full effect of a home match, although it is a home match for them, because this match being played at the Tony Spalding Sports Complex, the home ground of the Arnett Gardens team. UWI finished 6th last season, which qualified them for the playoffs. They were eliminated from those playoffs by Mount Pleasant, the team they're battling here tonight. And that last year was the second time in the 4 years that they've been in the Premier League that the UWI actually made the playoffs. So for a pretty new team to the Red Stripe Premier League, 4 times in the league and making the playoffs twice out of their first 4 seasons in the league, I think pretty commendable. One of the strengths of their team, their goalkeeper, Aman Knight, a former Wolmer's goalkeeper standout.
Well, he needs to be good tonight. Like I said, he's a part of the
top player for them. Thorne Simpson, one of the leading goal scorers for this university team, and he's gotten some goals for them already this season. Former Spalding High player, also spent some time at Reno. 5 goals already this season for Thorne Simpson, the leading scorer for UWI, and he's got to be on target tonight.
And definitely, and Lance earlier spoke with Simpson there from Mount Pleasant.
Result last week, you were up 2 goals on Tivoli in their backyard and ended up giving up 2 late goals and missing the opportunity for 3 points. How disappointing was that?
Well, it was, but we have to put that behind us. That's the nature of league competition, and we'll look forward to tonight's game, and tonight's game is filled with possibilities, so we won't dwell on what has gone so far in the league. What we have to do is focus totally on this game in front of us.
A team that has made a strong mark in the past 4 years that you've been in the top flight, twice making the playoffs, but 1 win in your last 18 matches, Andrew. Things couldn't get any worse for you at the moment.
Well, yes, but if you look at the table, there's still hope, and that's what we play for. There's still the opportunity to climb up the table, and there's no better place to do it than in tonight's game against a top team who are second in the table.
Yeah. Malign's the closest team to you in 10th position. You are 11th, but you're 8 points behind them, meaning that you're 8 points in deficit from in the relegation battle. How difficult will it be? We're middle part of the second round, and so there's not a whole lot of football left to be played.
You have to take it a game at a time, set short-term objectives. Short-term objectives going into the games, and then short-term objectives in terms of the spell of games that they have to play, and target those. 8 points is not insurmountable. A win tonight put us 5 points within, with more lines to play and with some other teams around us to play. So that's what we look forward to. We look forward to a strong start tonight and a positive game from the team.
6 times you have played Mount Pleasant. You've never beaten them before. 4 of those, or 5 of those matches, Donovan Ducky was their coach. They have a different coach now. Does that impact on your plan and how you strategize for them?
Yes, a little bit. They are much more offensive now than before. Before they were a team that play a lot of long balls and play for 1-0 margins, get the go-ahead goal. Now when they try to impose themselves early in the game, they try to still attack rather than sit and wait. So you have to be mindful of that. And also with a team that's not so defensive, then you expect that there will be chances for our team. So we have to just go toe-to-toe with them.
Yeah, so Andrew Peart, they're looking for a change of fortunes here for the UWI team, who have been really struggling so far. Mount Pleasant, this is a real tremendous success story. Peter Gould, the man that is the owner of this club, founded only back in 2016 and almost immediately qualified for the Red Stripe Premier League. This Mount Pleasant team finished 3rd last year after losing in the semi-finals to the eventual champions Portmore, and a lot of their fans in St. Anne are expecting them to come even better this year. Ladale Ritchie, a former standout for Montego Bay United, now in the national setup. Very solid central defender, sometimes plays a holding midfield position, and clearly one of the big robust entities for this Mount Pleasant team, and a lot will depend on how he plays tonight, whether they get the win tonight.
Yeah, most definitely he'll have to be solid here, because UWI definitely will be coming out in attack to ensure that they get a victory tonight, as they so badly need. But earlier, Lance spoke with...
Yeah, Cardell Benbow, he is a former St. George's College standout.
Earlier, Lance spoke with Nigel Stewart from Mount Pleasant to get an idea of what to expect from this unit tonight.
Coach, you had a 3-game winning streak snapped last week in a loss to Cavalier. What has happened this week as you try to avenge that loss, that result?
Yeah, we lost, and we really go back and work some more on what we did wrong in that game. And tonight we hope to see the fruits.
You played this team 4 times last year, beat them 3 times, and there was 1 drawn result, including the playoffs. You've never lost to UWI. Does that factor in your game plan tonight?
Yeah, somewhat. But, we still have to go out and play. We can't just go out and take it for granted. We still have to go out and work hard.
You've had a couple of players missing because of international duties. Jordan Fletcher among those, having gone to the under-22 in the Kirin Cup in Japan. Is that a major setback for you tonight?
Yeah, Jordan is a very integral part of our team. He's been having a good run now, so we're going to miss Jordan. But, we have complement players can go out there and do the job.
The leaders, Waterhouse, lost 2 matches in a row, which means you have an opportunity, if you win tonight, to go within 1 point of the lead. How seriously are you taking that?
Well, we're seriously, because we want to be in the running for the league title. So we have to do it. We have to go tonight and really play hard and get 3 points. And as I said before, 1 point behind the leader.
Yeah, your goal scoring form has been pretty solid in recent weeks. I think you've had like about 12 goals in either 6 or 7 matches. So offensively, your team is doing a good job.
Yeah, we're finding the back of the net frequently. I mean, we could have done it some more, but we are thankful for what we are doing now.
Mount Pleasant gained a lot of respect last year, first time in the Premiership and getting all the way to the semi-finals. What's the outlook for, or let me say, what's the target or the goal for 2019-2020?
I mean, it's 1 more step to the finals, and hopefully we can take the title. But, the final definitely is another step we need to find.
So there's Nigel Stewart on the coaching staff for this Mount Pleasant team, and they do not have the huge traveling fans in numbers as they did last year, but there's David Galloway and Paul Teagat Davis. Teagat Davis, an outstanding striker for Jamaica internationally during his playing days, and also for SEBA in the Red Stripe. Well, it was the Cravenay Premier League at that point, but it was the National League, and he was so outstanding in the history of the tournament.
And next Monday, Red Stripe Football Mondays continue, and we'll be here at in Arnett Gardens here at the Anthony Spalding Sports Complex. And Arnett Gardens, they'll take on Malines United, and that game will be played at 7:30, 8:30 ECT.
So we're approximately 10 minutes away from the kickoff here. They're the Mount Pleasant fans. They're here and ready for action against the UWI team that they're at the moment 19 points better than in the table, and 9 places above them in the positional table. So Mount Pleasant, huge favorites to win tonight. Back with more of the build-up after this break.
Camera and action for the rebirth of the Red Stripe Premier League football action on Monday. The home of
Jeffrey Grant. Grant, not a great pass, but it ends with Miller. Chance here! And it's in the back of the net. Chevron Mark.
Based on where this is going to be taken from, it's almost like a corner. The ball headed towards goal and in. Malco getting the goal. The go-ahead goal. They've worked really, really hard for it.
Ronaldo Christian, the left back.
Brown turns expertly, sets the ball back. Oh, what a brilliant strike! Stephen Williams brings Waterhouse level at 2-2.
Brilliant setup play here. This is Roberts. Checks in onto the left foot inside. The chest trap by Howell, and from the outside of the left foot, Stephen Williams. This is how he just tees it off to him, and low and hard, almost like a toe punt, Lance.
Alone champion boy go. Wanna pour them a singing anthem to. Red stripe, watch out. Man, shall I be the forward boy? Red stripe Premier League champion boy score. Every goal winner run from boy. Red stripe Premier League champion boy now. Back down we run him all again boy. The red stripe Premier League champion boy. Yeah, yo.
The Tony Spalding Sports Complex is the venue tonight for Red Stripe Football Mondays. It's the Arnott Gardens home ground, but they are not in action tonight. They are your two teams, UWI with a home game of sorts against the travelling Mount Pleasant FA. Mount Pleasant second in the table at the moment. UWI in 11th spot and looking to lift themselves from relegation trouble. It's a pretty cool night here.
Really want to start the climb out of the relegation zone, and as such I expect an open attacking footballing game tonight because both teams have enough motivation to want to win.
That's right. The match is played from Sunday. Dunbeholden 3-2 over Malines. Dean Andre Thomas with a double there for Dunbeholden, which means that he is now the leading goal scorer in the Red Stripe Premier League. Vere United and Tivoli 1-1. Arnott Gardens avenging their first round loss to Humberland with a 2-1 scoreline. Humberland losing out on a 6-game winless streak that they undefeated streak that they had. They had the best unbeaten run of all teams in the Premier League until yesterday. Harbourview 1-0 over Portmore, snapping a 3-game winning streak that the defending champions had. And look at the Cavalier result, beating Waterhouse 1-0. Waterhouse still just 4 points ahead of Mount Pleasant in the table.
And that's the case tonight. You feel Mount Pleasant, they will take that as an advantage, wanting to go and close the gap on Mount Pleasant. But I like the Cavaliers team. They've taken on two of the top teams in the league, high-scoring teams, and came out without conceding a goal. UWI at the bottom, but they have to begin their climb. Now it's 8 points to safety, and they need to start getting wins.
Yeah, good point there you made about Cavalier. They have a lot of youngsters coming up from the schoolboy season in their lineup at the moment, and they have in the past 2 weeks defeated the top 2 teams in Mount Pleasant and Waterhouse. The teams are coming on to the field in a pretty short while, but let's get the views now of the finalists here ahead of Mount Pleasant against UWI.
Evan Taylor is my baller. Well, I think Mount Pleasant will win 2-1 victory tonight. Well, I've been following Mount Pleasant for about 1 year and 2 months, so because my baby father play for them, so yeah, I walk them up tonight for 2.
I'm Lisa, representing Mount Pleasant, of course. Tonight I'm predicting
Evan Taylor. I hear from 1 year and about 2 months now, I carry that side there. But I tell you, my victory tonight is a 2-1. Mount Pleasant will whop them, lick them because them are going to use for the education, not for a football thing. Mount Pleasant are the academic side. That must say.
You got yourself Mount Pleasant straight. Winnings we say up to the time.
Wow, very interesting words there from Prudence. Says that this is an education that Mount Pleasant will be delivering tonight. There's the UE coach, Andrew Peart. They're in real problems. Just 1 win in their last 18 matches. And they're looking for a result today against one of the best playing teams in the island, coached by this man, Paul Teagat Davis.
And since Paul Teagat Davis took the reins at Mount Pleasant, he has brought consistency and a good play. And I think UWI, they really have a difficult task. But like we've said so often, Lance, we've seen teams in this position and they use it as a motivation. Not much pressure, you'd want to think. Nobody expects them to win tonight. And maybe that is going to be something that will help this UWI team to really get a result.
Well, UWI will be trying to turn the trend around completely here because this is a team, Mount Pleasant, that they have never beaten. Mount Pleasant only their second year in the championship. These two teams met 5 times last year, 2 of those matches in the first and second legs of the playoffs, and we have 4 Mount Pleasant victories last year, 1 drawn result, 3 Mount Pleasant victories and 2 drawn results, or 4 victories and 1 drawn result. And right now, UWI tonight are going for their first ever victory over the Mount Pleasant team. The meeting they had in the first round back in September,
ended able to beat them. UWI playing in white, Mount Pleasant in blue. Both teams will be missing a couple of key players on the night.
Ladies and gentlemen,
with
please rise for the playing of the
Alwyn Harvey and Jordan Fletcher on Jamaica under 22 duties in Japan. Through the national anthem. Michael Heaven will be missing from the UWI roster tonight because of his trip to Japan, where the Jamaica under-22 team lost by 9 goals to 0 to Japan in that Kirin Cup fixture. And as I said, for Mount Pleasant, Alwyn Henry and Jordan Fletcher were two of the young international.
Mount Pleasant, they have a good squad, and so may not miss those two players too much, and they may feel like this is the best fixture for them to come up with those players away, and with UWI so away at the bottom, then yeah, it's a good fixture for them.
Odette Hamilton has the whistle tonight. Odette was the referee in charge of the Red Stripe Premier League final last year between Waterhouse and Portmore. She's been a student at the GC Foster College of Physical Education now for a few years. Competitive sports personality herself, having represented GC Foster in the sport of volleyball, but she's among the leading referees in the island at the moment, and she has the whistle tonight.
She should be in good condition as well, so a good pace game that we expect tonight.
The UWI starting roster tonight, having Damona Solomon and Andrew Humphrey in there, replacing Pajil Brown and Jabari Hilton, who were in the starting roster last match. As well, Jelana Barnes, who has been accustomed to playing here when he was at Arnett Gardens, also a part of the setup.
And they played a 4-1-4-1 formation, and very critical for them, like I said. Holding midfielder Williams there is going to have a critical role to play, and that back four critical, because I feel that's where UWI need to improve in terms of their defensive work. But a collective work from the team is going to be important for Coach Peart tonight to be able to get something from this game.
Mount Pleasant looking a picture of focus and concentration as they get ready for a match that, if they win tonight, as we said, will take them within 1 point of the leaders Waterhouse, who lost their last 2 matches. Also a couple of changes in the Mount Pleasant roster tonight. Liston James and Keston Hall in for Ricardo Campbell and Francois Swaby as far as their starting roster is concerned. Look at the number 10, Kimar Beckford. He's finally found his shooting boots, and he has had
attacking football, and we expect that to happen tonight because they want to avenge the loss they had in round 19 against Cavaliers.
34 points Mount Pleasant has at the moment so far this season. Parted company with Donovan Ducky, their coach, from the very first 2 weeks of the season. There's Kimar Beckford, a former standout player for Waterhouse, Fraser's Whip, and also Rivoli. Was an Excelsior Manning Cup player in his playing days, and he has been doing very well in recent weeks. Kamar Beckford. There's Delano Barnes. Played here for Arnett Gardens last season. Represented both Excelsior and St. George's College in Manning Cup football. Delano Barnes. And was also a Manning Cup winner back in 2012 when they defeated Hydel. There's Amal Knight, himself a schoolboy champion. Was brilliant in helping Wolmers win the Walker Cup title back in 2012. And saved a couple of penalties in that shootout as well, and has been solid between the sticks for UWI so far in his Premier League life. And for sure, it's because of those performances for UWI that he was called up to the national squad.
And I expect him to really put on his best performance tonight. I think he's expecting a really good matchup coming from, or pressure coming from, this Mount Pleasant team. Also, we see the Mount Pleasant with the build-up to this game. They're very serious in terms of how they're approaching the game. So not taking it lightly at all. Really looking as if they want to close this gap on Waterhouse.
Odette Hamilton with a whistle. She's